The forest was quiet that morning. The mist still hung low between the tall trees. A man named Daniel walked slowly, carrying only a small pack on his back. He was a wanderer, moving from place to place. Never staying too long, he searched for food, water, and sometimes shelter. But today, something else caught his eye, under the roots of a fallen tree. Half hidden in the dirt, he saw a strange glow. At first, he thought it was just a reflection from the sun. But when he came closer, he realized it was something alive. It was an egg, unlike any bird or reptile he had ever seen. Its shell shimmered like metal, with lines that pulsed like veins of fire. He crouched and touched it gently. The warmth shocked him. It was beating like a heart. Daniel looked around. He knew this was no ordinary forest find. This was dangerous. Perhaps it belonged to something that should never be touched. But something inside him told him to lift it. He wrapped the egg in his old cloak and held it close to his chest. The villagers of the nearby tribe warned him many times about the cursed beasts of the valley. They said strange creatures roamed at night. Creatures that killed cattle and sometimes even men. They said to never pick up glowing things, for they belonged to the dark spirits. But Daniel did not believe in such tales. He believed in what he saw. And what he saw was not a curse, but a life waiting to be born. When he brought the egg back to his small hut, the fire inside seemed to grow stronger. The shell cracked slowly. As the night passed, Daniel sat awake, eyes fixed on it. He felt as if he was guarding a treasure. At midnight, a sharp cry echoed in the room. The egg broke apart, and from it crawled a tiny creature. It was small, no larger than a kitten. Its body was covered in soft, dark scales. Its eyes glowed with a strange golden light. It looked weak. Trembling as it tried to stand, Daniel reached out his hand. The creature sniffed him and pressed its head against his palm. For a moment, the man and the creature stared at each other. And something unspoken passed between them. Daniel smiled. "You're no monster," he whispered. "You're just a baby." The days went by. Daniel fed the small creature milk mixed with broth. It ate greedily, making little growls when hungry. At night, it curled up against his chest, breathing softly like a child. He gave it a name, though he was not sure why. He called it Ash, because its black scales reminded him of fire's remains. But outside the hut, the tribe noticed strange things. Farmers found tracks near their fields. Heavy claw marks in the dirt, though too small to be from a beast. Hunters spoke of hearing cries in the woods at night, cries that did not belong to wolves or birds, and some whispered of a man who had taken a cursed egg. One afternoon, the tribe's elder woman saw Daniel carrying a bundle in his arms. She shouted at him from a distance, warning him to throw it away. Her voice was filled with fear. She said he was raising their doom, but Daniel turned and walked away. Holding the small creature close, he did not care for their warnings, for when he looked into Ash's golden eyes, he did not see death. He saw trust. Ash grew fast, faster than Daniel imagined. Within weeks, its claws were sharper, its teeth longer, and its growls deeper. It followed him wherever he went, never leaving his side. Sometimes it played like a pup, tumbling in the grass. Other times, it stared into the distance as if sensing something he could not. One evening, as Daniel gathered wood outside, he heard a low rumble from inside the hut. It was not the sound of hunger, nor of play. He rushed in and saw Ash standing on its legs, back arched, eyes glowing brighter than ever. The creature let out a growl so deep it shook the walls. Daniel froze. For the first time he wondered, what exactly had he brought into his life? Was this really a friend, or was it the beginning of something far more dangerous? The growl faded. Ash blinked and ran toward him. Pressing against his leg like before, Daniel sighed and picked it up, stroking its head. Yet in his heart, he felt the weight of the unknown. He had chosen a path that could not be turned back. That night, as he lay awake with the creature curled beside him. Daniel whispered, "I don't know what you are, but I will not abandon you." Outside, the forest was silent. But far in the distance, something howled back, and deep within the tribe, rumors spread faster than fire. They said the cursed beast had been born again, and it was in the hands of a human. Asterisk, the mornings in the valley were no longer the same. Each day, Daniel woke up to the sound of claws scratching on the wooden floor. Ash was no longer the tiny, helpless thing he had found inside the egg. The creature had grown faster than he could ever imagine. In just a few short weeks, Ash was as tall as Daniel's knees. Its body was heavier, its scales harder, and its golden. Eyes brighter, the creature no longer chirped like a baby. Instead, it gave low rumbles, deep enough to shake the air, still. It followed Daniel like a shadow, never letting him out of sight. Daniel fed Ash every day. But the creature's hunger grew as fast as its body. At first, it ate milk and meat scraps. But soon, it wanted more. Daniel had to hunt rabbits and deer. To keep it satisfied, sometimes the villagers saw him carrying large cuts of meat and whispered behind his back. They said he was feeding a demon. They said he was raising death with his own hands. But Daniel ignored their words, for when Ash looked at him, there was no malice. No darkness, only loyalty. The creature would nudge his hand, waiting to be scratched under its jaw. It would curl beside the fire, keeping him warm at night. It was more than a beast. It was his companion. Still, the signs of danger could not be hidden. Once, when Daniel brought Ash to the stream, the creature saw a wild boar in an instant. It leaped forward with speed beyond any normal animal. Its jaws clamped down, snapping bone with a sound that chilled Daniel's blood. When the creature returned, its mouth was stained red. Its golden eyes glowed fiercely. Yet, when Daniel whispered, "Enough," Ash lowered its head and obeyed. The tribe grew restless. They gathered at night and spoke in hushed voices. Some wanted Daniel driven out. Others wanted Ash killed before it grew too powerful. They feared the prophecy their elders spoke of, a prophecy that warned of a glowing egg, a beast born from fire, and a human who would command it. But no one dared to act yet. Not while the creature stayed quiet in Daniel's hut. One evening, as Daniel returned from hunting, he found the princess of the tribe waiting at his door. Her name was Lyra. She was young but carried herself with strength. Her eyes narrowed as she looked at Ash, who stood behind Daniel like a guardian. "You must destroy it," Lyra said coldly. "That thing is not meant to live among men," Daniel shook his head. "It's not a thing," he replied. "It's family." Lyra's jaw tightened. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You don't understand. This is not about you. This is about all of us. That creature will not stay a pet. It will grow until nothing can stop it. Our people fear it, and when fear grows, blood follows." Daniel did not answer. He simply turned and walked inside. Ash followed, its tail brushing the ground. For a moment, Lyra saw something she did not expect. The beast glanced at her, and instead of snarling, it lowered its head as Daniel had taught it. She froze. Her breath caught. Could it be true? Could the man really control what no one else dared to touch? Days passed, and the tension grew like storm clouds. Daniel began to notice hunters trailing him in the woods. Sometimes he heard whispers behind him. Sometimes he saw spears pointed in his direction before the men quickly turned away. He knew the tribe would not wait forever. Sooner or later, they would act. One night, Daniel awoke to a sound outside. Ash was already standing, eyes glowing like two golden lanterns. A group of villagers had gathered near the hut. Carrying torches, their leader shouted, "Hand over the beast before it destroys us all." Ash growled. Stepping forward, the ground trembled as its claws dug into the earth. The villagers froze, fear painted across their faces. But Daniel raised his hand and spoke softly. Ash. The creature stopped at once, lowering its head. The crowd gasped. They had expected a monster, wild and uncontrollable. But what they saw instead was obedience, loyalty, and something terrifying in its own way. For if a man could command such a creature, what power did he truly hold? The villagers backed away, some muttering prayers, some calling Daniel cursed. But none dared to attack. Not that night. They knew the beast was still growing, and they feared what it would become after the villagers left. Daniel sat by the fire, staring at Ash. The creature rested its head in his lap, eyes closing like a child at peace. Daniel stroked its scales. But his mind was restless. He had chosen this path, and now there was no turning back. Ash was no longer just a tiny creature. It was becoming a predator that trusted him above all. But Daniel could not shake the feeling that soon the tribe would force him to make a choice. And far away, the Princess Lyra watched from the shadows. She whispered to herself, "If the prophecy is true, then my people's future rests in the hands of this man." That night, the forest was quiet again. But in Daniel's heart, storm was brewing. He knew the world around him was about to change, and it all began with the strange egg he chose to keep. The sun rose red over the valley, and the tribe gathered near the great fire. Their voices carried fear. They spoke of the glowing-eyed predator that lived with the stranger. They spoke of curses and omens, and of the danger growing in there. Midst every whisper carried the same word prophecy. The prophecy was old, older than the tribe itself. It told of an egg of fire that would hatch in the hands of a foreigner. It warned that the one who raised the beast would hold power over life and death. Some believed this man, Daniel, had brought their end. Others thought he had been chosen by the spirits, but none were certain, and fear only grew. Princess Lyra walked among her people. Her eyes sharp, she heard their worries, felt their anger, but also saw their hesitation. They would not move without her word. She was the voice of the tribe, and her choice could decide their future. That evening, Lyra went to Daniel's hut. She found him sitting by the fire, sharpening his knife. The creature Ash lay nearby, its golden eyes fixed on her the moment she entered. Its body was larger now, its scales harder like black stone. It no longer looked like a pup, but a hunter in waiting. "You should not be here," Daniel said quietly. Not lifting his eyes, "I must be here," Lyra replied firmly. She stepped closer, unafraid though her heart beat fast. "I have come with a warning." Daniel raised his head slowly. His eyes met hers, calm but tired. "Another threat," he muttered. "Your people have already given me enough of those." Lyra shook her head. "Not a threat, a truth." She sat across from him, her voice low. "Do you know of the prophecy?" Daniel did not answer at once. He looked at Ash, who had not moved. Then he said, "I have heard whispers. They call him cursed. They say he will bring ruin." Lyra's gaze hardened. "It is more than whispers. The prophecy says that whoever raises the beast will rule the tribe. The creature is not just an animal. It is a weapon and a crown." Daniel frowned. "I never wanted a crown, but the beast will give you one." "Whether you want it or not," she said, leaning closer. "Do you understand? If you keep it, my people will bow to you. They will kill you. There is no other path." Silence hung between them. The fire crackled softly. Daniel's hand rested on Ash's head. The creature purred like a cat, calm under his touch. Lyra's breath caught. She had never seen anything like it. The beast that made warriors tremble obeyed this man like a loyal dog. "You ask me to kill him?" Daniel said finally, his voice heavy. "Yes," she answered, though her eyes flickered with doubt. "Kill it while it is still young, before it becomes unstoppable. Save yourself, save us all." Daniel shook his head slowly. "You look at him and see a weapon, I look at him and see a child. He trusts me. He depends on me. Would you have me betray that trust?" Lyra's chest tightened. She wanted to argue, to shout, but the words stuck in her throat. The truth was there in front of her. The creature had lowered its head at Daniel's command. It had spared her when it could have leaped, was the prophecy. Wrong, or had it already begun? Your people will not wait long. Lyra said at last, standing, "When fear grows too strong, they will act without me, and if they come, they will not come with words. They will come with fire and spears." Daniel nodded, but his eyes did not leave the flames. "Then let them come, Ash will protect me." Lyra hesitated at the door. She looked back once more at the man and the beast by his side. The sight chilled her. Not because it was frightening, but because it was powerful, too powerful to be ignored. That night, Daniel lay awake. The words of the princess echoed in his mind. Prophecy, crown, no other path. He did not want to rule. He did not want war. All he wanted was to keep the creature safe. Yet he knew fate was pulling him into something far greater. Outside the hut, Ash stirred, its head lifted, golden eyes glowing in the dark. It growled softly, sensing something in the distance. Daniel followed its gaze and saw lights moving through the trees. Torches, too many to count. The tribe was gathering, just as Lyra had warned. Daniel's heart pounded. He whispered to the creature, "Stay close." Ash pressed against him. "Ready?" The bond between man and beast had grown stronger than fear. But now, for the first time, Daniel wondered. Was he protecting Ash, or was Ash the one protecting him? Far away, Princess Lyra stood among her people. Her hands clenched at her sides. She had given her warning, and he had ignored it. Now she would have to choose. Would she lead her people against him, or would she stand by his side when the prophecy demanded it? And as the torches closed in around the forest, the night carried a single truth. The time for whispers was over. The night was heavy with smoke and fear. The tribe had gathered in the open field, their torches burning bright against the dark sky. Men and women stood shoulder to shoulder, their faces tense, their voices loud. All eyes were fixed on the hut at the edge of the forest, the hut where Daniel lived with the creature. Princess Lyra stood before them, her heart torn. She had warned Daniel, yet he had refused to kill the beast. Now her people demanded action. The elders stepped forward, their voices booming. "The prophecy is alive," they said. "The stranger has taken the cursed egg. He has raised the predator. If he will not destroy it, then the trial must decide." The trial of fire was an old law. Older than Lyra herself, it was a test of spirit and strength. If Daniel and his beast survived, they would be allowed to live. But if they failed, both man and creature would die by fire. The tribe beat drums as Daniel was led to the center of the field. Ash followed him closely, its black scales shimmering in the torchlight. The people gasped when they saw its size. No longer a pup. Ash now stood as tall as Daniel's chest, its claws dug deep into the earth, its golden eyes glowing like burning. Sons Lyra stepped forward, her voice strong, though her heart wavered, by the law of the tribe. "You and your creature must face the trial of fire. If the spirits favor you, you will live. If not, both will burn." Daniel met her gaze, calm but firm. "I do not fear your fire," he said quietly. He placed his hand on Ash's head. "We stand together." The trial began. The villagers formed a wide circle around Daniel and Ash. They raised their torches high, creating a wall of flames. The heat pressed in from all sides. Ash snarled, its wings twitching though still too small to fly, its body tensed as if ready to strike. The tribe shouted, waving spears and banging drums. The noise was deafening, meant to drive the beast into rage, but Daniel stood still. his hand never leaving Ash's back. His voice was low, steady, easy. "Ash, stay with me." At first, the creature shook, confused by the fire and noise. Its growl rose, deep and dangerous. But when Daniel looked into its golden eyes, Ash calmed. It lowered its head and pressed against him. The tribe gasped. They had expected wild fury. Instead, they saw obedience. The elders ordered the fire to be pushed closer. Flames licked the ground. Smoke rose higher. The trial was meant to test the bond, to break it. Daniel felt the heat burning his skin, but he did not move. "We endure." Together, he whispered. Ash roared, but not in fear. Its roar cut through the night, shaking the hearts of all who listened. Then came the second part of the trial. Warriors stepped forward, their spears tipped with fire. They charged at Daniel and the beast. Ash leaped between them and its master. Its claws struck the ground, sending sparks into the air. With one swipe, it knocked the spears aside. The warriors fell back, trembling. The people shouted in terror and awe. Never before had a beast obeyed a human's command under such chaos. The prophecy felt alive before their eyes. Daniel raised his hand. "Stop," he cried. Ash froze at once. Its chest heaved. Its eyes still burning, but it obeyed. Silence fell across the field. Only the crackle of flames filled the night. Princess Lyra's heart pounded. She had seen enough. The prophecy was no lie. This man had tamed the predator. He had passed the trial of fire, but not all were convinced. Some elders shouted, "It is a trick. He has bewitched the beast." Others cried, "He is chosen. The spirits favor him." The tribe split into anger and fear. Lyra lifted her hand for silence. Her voice rang out. "The trial is clear. The man and his beast live. They are under the protection of the law." The crowd erupted into chaos. Some cheered, some cursed. Some bowed their heads, others spat on the ground, but none dared to attack again. The law had spoken. Daniel stood in the center, his arm around Ash's neck. He looked at the tribe, his face unreadable. He had not come for power, yet power was being forced upon him that night. When the fires burned low and the tribe returned to their homes, Daniel sat alone with Ash by his side. He stroked the creature's scales, whispering, "We survived, but this is only the beginning." In her tent, Princess Lyra sat with the elders. They pressed her to act. "You must claim the beast," they said. "The prophecy says it belongs to the ruler. If you do not, he will take the tribe from you." Lyra closed her eyes, her heart heavy. She remembered the way Ash bowed its head to Daniel, the way it calmed at his voice. She knew the truth. The beast had chosen its master. But she also knew her people would not rest. Sooner or later, a choice would be forced upon her. And as the firelight flickered across her face, she whispered, "If the beast will not bow to me, then perhaps I must bow to him." The nights after the trial of fire were uneasy. The tribe had allowed Daniel and his beast to live, but whispers spread like smoke. Some said the spirits had chosen him. Others said he had cursed them all. No one could ignore the truth. Ash was no longer just a creature. It was becoming something far greater. Ash grew quickly. Its body stretched taller, its wings stronger. Its black scales gleamed under the sun like polished stone. When it walked, the earth seemed to tremble beneath its weight. The hunters avoided the forest where Daniel trained it. Farmers prayed when they heard its roar echo across the valley. But Daniel did not see a monster. He saw his companion, his family. He taught Ash to hunt without killing more than needed. He taught it to obey his words. And though its teeth were sharp and its power great, Ash never harmed him in the quiet nights. The creature still curled beside the fire like it had when it was small. One morning, Daniel took Ash to the open fields to train. He threw heavy logs, and Ash snapped them in its jaws as if they were twigs. He commanded it to leap, and its wings spread wide, though still unsteady. The sight made Daniel's breath catch if the wings grew any stronger. Ash would soon take to the skies, unseen by him. Princess Lyra watched from the trees, her heart raced as she saw the bond between man and beast. It was undeniable. The prophecy had come to life. She turned to leave, but suddenly the ground shook. A roar unlike any other split the air. A massive beast, a wild predator of the mountains, had come down into the valley. Its fur was white, its eyes red with hunger. It was one of the old terrors, a creature the tribe feared for generations. It stood taller than any man. Its claws could crush stone. The princess froze. The beast had scented her. It lowered its head, ready to charge. Lyra's heart pounded. She reached for her blade. But she knew it would not be enough. Then Ash moved. It leaped between her and the monster, spreading its wings wide. Its scales shone in the light, its eyes blazing gold. For the first time, the predator Daniel raised faced another predator. The clash was brutal. The mountain beast lunged, its claws tearing at the ground. Ash struck back with a roar that shook the trees. The two titans collided. The sound of bone against scale echoed like thunder. The princess stumbled back, her eyes wide. Daniel rushed forward, shouting, "Ash! With me?" Ash obeyed, turning its fury into focus. It slashed with its claws, driving the monster back. When the beast tried to strike again, Ash opened its jaws and released a sound deeper than thunder. The wild predator faltered, fear flashing in its red eyes with one final blow. Ash sent the beast crashing to the ground. The earth shook as silence followed. The mountain predator lay still, defeated. The tribe, who had gathered at the edge of the field, gasped in awe. Ash stood over the fallen monster, wings stretched wide, its body glowing faintly as if fire lived inside it. The people trembled. Some fell to their knees, others shouted in terror. "It is no beast," one elder cried. "It is a god of death." But Daniel stepped forward and placed his hand on Ash's neck. The creature lowered its head at once, golden eyes soft. The people gasped again. For even after such fury, the predator bowed only to him. Princess Lyra could not move. Her chest tightened. Her people had seen it too. The human commanded the beast that no one else could face. If the prophecy was true, then he held the power to rule them all. That night, the elders gathered in secret. Some demanded the beast be destroyed. Others said it was too late, that it must be claimed. One elder turned to Lyra and said, "The prophecy says the ruler must stand with the beast. If you do not bind yourself to the man, he will become ruler in your place." Lyra said nothing, but her mind burned. She remembered Ash standing between her and death. She remembered the way it bowed to Daniel. She knew her people were right. If the man commanded the predator, he commanded their future. Meanwhile, Daniel sat by the fire with Ash curled beside him. He stroked its scales, whispering, "You are no monster. You are my friend." But deep inside, he knew the truth. The predator he had raised was no longer a secret. It had revealed itself to the world, and the world would never let him live in peace again. Far away in her tent, Lyra whispered to herself, "He has left me no choice." Her voice trembled, not with fear, but with the weight of decision. The tribe could not rest after what they had witnessed. The memory of Ash defeating the mountain predator burned in every mind. Some called it salvation, others called it doom. But all agreed on one thing: the human and his beast could not be ignored. The elders gathered again in the great hall. Their voices clashed like thunder. One elder shouted, "We must kill the man before he grows stronger," another argued. "No, we must bind him to us. If he leaves, the beast leaves, and with it, our future." Princess Lyra sat in silence. Her people's eyes kept turning to her, for in the end, the decision rested with her. She was the heir, the blood of the tribe. If the prophecy spoke true, her actions would decide whether they survived or fell. At dawn, Lyra walked alone through the misty fields, her thoughts heavy. She remembered the moment ash had stood between her and death. She remembered the way it bowed to Daniel. She remembered the way Daniel's hand calmed it. She had seen loyalty, not madness, but she had also seen power. Power so great it could bend the will of her people. The prophecy whispered in her ears like a curse. Whoever controls the beast controls the tribe. She reached Daniel's hut. He was outside. Chopping wood, Ash lay nearby, its golden eyes watching every move. The creature had grown again, its body sleek and strong. Wings stretching wider, the sight made Lyra's chest tighten. If it kept growing, nothing would stand against it. Daniel looked up when he saw her, his face calm but wary. "You come again?" he said softly. Lyra nodded. She stepped closer, her eyes fixed on Ash. "I come with truth, not threats," she said, her voice steady but her heart racing. "The tribe will not wait. They will force a decision. If you stand apart, they will destroy you. If you stand above them, they will bow. But there is no path in between." Daniel wiped the sweat from his brow. His eyes narrowed. "And what do you ask of me?" Lyra's voice lowered, almost a whisper. "Share the burden with me. Stand beside me. Let the prophecy bind us. If I rule with you, the people will obey. If you refuse, they will never forgive you. They will rise with fire and blood." Silence filled the air. The only sound was the soft rumble from Ash's chest as it watched. Daniel looked at the princess, his jaw tight. "I never asked to rule. I never wanted power. I only wanted to protect him." He gestured to Ash, who lowered its head at his touch. Lyra's eyes softened. "And yet, power has come to you. Whether you want it or not, you cannot escape it. The beast has chosen you. That is something no elder, no warrior, no princess can change." Daniel sighed, his shoulders heavy. He saw truth in her words. He could not deny what was happening. Already the tribe feared him. Already the beast's roar shaped their nights. If he stood against them, there would be war. But if he stood with them, perhaps peace could be found. Still, he searched her eyes. "And you?" he asked quietly. "What do you truly want? Do you come as a princess or as a woman bound by fear?" For the first time, Lyra's voice faltered. "I come as both," she admitted. "I fear what you are, but I fear more what will come if you stand alone. If I must bow to you, then I will bow, but not for weakness, for survival." Daniel's chest tightened. He saw the struggle in her eyes, the weight of her people pressing down on her. He knew her choice was not for herself alone. It was for all of them. Ash moved suddenly, stepping closer to Daniel, its golden eyes fixed on Lyra. The princess stiffened, but instead of growling, the beast lowered its head slightly, as if acknowledging her. The gesture sent a chill through her body. It was not submission, but recognition. Her breath caught. She looked at Daniel. "It sees me," she whispered. Daniel nodded slowly. "Perhaps it chooses not only me, but the path we walk." Lyra closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, resolve burned in her gaze. She stepped forward and knelt, her knee pressing into the earth. The princess bowed her head, her voice firm. "Then I will stand with you, by law, by prophecy, by choice." Daniel stared at her, shock and uncertainty in his heart. He had never sought a throne, never sought allegiance, but now the princess of the tribe had bowed before him. And behind him stood a predator no one could deny from the trees. Hidden eyes watched. Warriors who had followed Lyra gasped at what they saw. A ripple spread through the tribe that evening. "The princess has chosen," they whispered. "She has bent the knee to the stranger. Some were outraged, some relieved, but none could ignore it. That night, Daniel sat by the fire. Ash resting at his side, Lyra sat across from him, her face calm but unreadable. The bond between man, beast, and princess was sealed, yet Daniel felt no peace, only the heavy shadow of what was to come. For if the princess had chosen him, the elders would not stay silent, and in the distance, drums began to echo once more, calling the tribe to gather. The final choice had been made, but the battle for power was only beginning. The night of drums carried through the valley. The people gathered in the great circle once more, torches blazing against the dark. The whispers had grown into shouts. The princess had bent her knee to the stranger. The prophecy was no longer a shadow. It stood in the open, alive before them all. Daniel walked into the circle with Ash at his side. The creature's wings now stretched wider than a man's height, its scales gleaming black and gold in the firelight. Each step shook the ground. The people drew back in fear. Some bowed their heads. Others raised their spears, but none dared to strike. Princess Lyra followed, her head held high. She stood beside Daniel, not behind him. Her voice rang out, strong as steel. The trial has been passed. The prophecy has been fulfilled. I have chosen to stand with him, and so must you. The elders stepped forward, their faces lined with anger. The oldest among them lifted his staff. You betray your blood, he cried. You bow to an outsider. You let him command the beast, and soon he will command us all. This cannot be. The crowd roared with mixed voices, some agreeing, some begging for silence. The air trembled with fear and rage. Daniel raised his hand. His voice was calm but carried far. I did not ask for this. I never sought your crown or your throne. I raised Ash not to rule, but because he was alone. Like me, but if you force me, I will protect him. And if that means standing against all of you, then so be it. Ash growled deeply, its golden eyes flashing. The sound silenced the crowd. Even the elders stepped back. For in that moment, it was clear the beast would defend him to the end. But then something unexpected happened. Ash lifted its head high and released a roar that shook the valley. The flames of the torches bent in the wind of its voice. The people fell to their knees, not because of fear, but because of awe. In the golden glow of its eyes, they saw not just death, but power beyond their own. One by one, voices began to chant, chosen, chosen. The word spread like fire, until the whole circle echoed with it. The elders tried to silence them, but it was too late. The tribe had seen the truth with their own eyes. Princess Lyra stepped forward, her voice rising above the noise. The prophecy does not speak of fear, it speaks of destiny. The man has raised the predator, and the predator has chosen him. If we fight him, we fight the spirits. If we follow him, we follow survival. I, Lyra, princess of this tribe, stand by his side. Who will stand with me? The crowd hesitated, but slowly, men and women lifted their torches in support. They bowed their heads, not just to her, but to the man and the beast together. The elders' voices broke in anger. But their power was gone. The people had chosen. Daniel stood in the firelight, his hand resting on Ash's neck. He did not smile. His face was heavy. His heart was torn. He had not wanted this, but it had come, and now he carried not only the life of the beast, but the lives of an entire people. That night, the tribe feasted under the stars. But Daniel sat quietly at the edge. Ash curled beside him, its golden eyes watching the fire. Lyra approached and sat next to him. Her voice was soft. It is done. They will follow you now with me at your side. Daniel shook his head. They follow the beast. Not me. No. Lyra whispered. They follow you because the beast follows you. That is the difference. Daniel looked at her, searching her eyes. He saw no trick, no lie, only truth. And though his heart was heavy, he nodded then. We lead, not as rulers, but as guardians. Lyra placed her hand over his. Yes, guardians. Ash shifted, laying its great head across Daniel's lap. The firelight flickered across its scales, and for the first time, Daniel allowed himself to feel the weight of hope instead of fear. But far away, in the mountains beyond the valley, other roars answered Ash's call. Creatures like it stirred, waking from long slumber. The night carried their echoes. Low and deep, the prophecy had been fulfilled, but it was only the beginning. Daniel looked up at the stars, his hand resting on the predator he had raised beside him sat the princess who had bowed and then stood with him, the tribe behind him, the beast before him. The world ahead of him, the new order had begun.